Hi everyone. As we mentioned before, my name is Patrick and this is Noah, and we're Leading Edge Consulting. We're here to help you. We're here to help you solve your problem. We've looked over the case. We've analyzed the report. We've come up with the solutions, and we're here to present it to you today. I'm going to begin with the executive summary. How should GDI move forward with this connected customer project? We looked at the way that you guys did your last project. We analyzed it. We came up with conclusions we wanted to present with you today. We found specific issues, key issues, a rushed project, metrics and accountability, as well as implementation mistakes. And we have a recommendation, the multi-phased approach, that we feel as though it will solve this problem. Now the recommendation is, we do not want you to move forward with the connected customer project as of yet. Before you do that, we want to make sure that you complete your commitment to e-ordering. We want to make sure that your second goal of getting the 85% conversion ratio is attained. We feel as though that is important, as without doing so, you're not going to be able to learn your customer. You've learned so much from the beginning of 0 conversion all the way to 80 that we feel as though rushing by and not finishing this project will end up for you lacking a lot of different things. You will not get the added benefit of learning more about your customer throughout the last bit of the project. We want to redesign the development process. You guys used a waterfall approach, a parallel approach. These let you down in the long term. We feel as though agile and phased approach will significantly allow you to better implement strategies, create efficiencies, effectively reach your goals over time. Finally, we want you to do a lot of market research in regards to what you're ordering before you decide to take this project. We feel as though the last time it was rushed. It was not looked over. We didn't know where the value was coming from by doing this project. And we want to make sure that you better understand your business processes, your customer, and create value for the consumer that way.
Right, so Patrick talked about some of the problems with the implementation, and we really want to talk about how can we commit more to e-ordering, right? The original goal was to 100% utilization rate. The company hasn't even hit their goal of 85%, so it wouldn't currently make sense to divide our efforts into one project. As well, we need to totally relook at how does this company think about design, right? The method that was taken to begin with was a traditional waterfall approach in which all the systems analysis and planning and design was done at the beginning. And honestly, it was kind of naive to believe that you could solve this issue without actually taking feedback from the users along the way. So we want to redesign how the company thinks about the development process. With the completion of that project, we will really take the opportunity to do some market research and learn even further about the customer and really find what do they need, right? Because the connected customer project has been laid out by the company, but they haven't actually taken the chance to ask the customer what are they looking for and what will add value to them. And that was a fatal flaw in the first project that we want to work on and improve for the next one. So the main problem in the case is, how will we move forward with the connected customer project? And we've talked about some of the problems, high level, that the company has made to begin with, but we're going to go into deeper on that and figure out how we can be better in the future. So the first issue was that the project was very rushed. You see the company does all the analysis and design and storyboarding for the project in the first 2-3 days of meetings. And honestly, without taking feedback from the customer, it's just naive to believe that you could plan the system like that. So the project felt rushed, and as a result, it created many other inefficiencies. You see still, to this day, the company going back to undo some of the mistakes of their past. And we believe if the project was designed properly and implemented properly, we could have done this smarter rather than now trying to scramble to fix our mistakes. And this comes down to the approach that was taken, right? I talked to you about the waterfall approach, and some of the problems that are caused by that. We believe that with the agile approach, we can fix some of these issues by taking user input along the way, which was something that was totally lacking in the company's original approach. And by doing so, we'll take the opportunity to learn more about our customer and be focused in our efforts when we decide to move forward to the connected customer.
Another problem was there's little accountability. The business team, as well as the IT team, didn't really know who was in charge and doing what. Whose idea was it to go and create this project? Well, it was the CIO. But did he really know what he wanted to do? Did he really know where the value was being created by digitalizing? He mentioned we have to build the bus or we'll be ran over by the bus. This is not a good reason for digitalizing. Digitalizing is done as an option. Digitalizing is done as an option because of the fact that creation of value for consumers is done through digitalizing as an option, not just doing digitalizing for the sake of doing digitalizing, because large corporations like Google and Apple are doing it. You don't build the bus that way. It's not an effective system. So there's a big disconnect between the business team, the IT team, who is accountable for the project, and why they're doing it as a whole. Another thing is the project was done cooperatively, not collaboratively. IT was doing their thing, business was doing theirs, and the last thing you want to do throughout project management is cooperate throughout a project. You need to have a cross-functional team working together. Hey, this is why we're doing this. This is what we're trying to do. This is how we're going to create value. Oh, I know how to do this. We can do this process and we can build this system. And that's how you cooperate. That's how you collaborate, not cooperate. The wrong metrics were used. The project was not being measured properly. Business was saying, hey, we should be using a profit and loss system. Is this project actually creating tangible benefits? Is it creating profit on the bottom line? IT should have been saying, hey, no, we need to be looking at the right metrics. We should be looking at user conversion ratios and actually seeing that people are actually switching over. It's more convenient. It's creating value for them. It's creating less resources to be used for us. And so we're able to actually create value in the organization. Salespeople didn't even believe that the project was going to work. They should have been incorporated within this cross-functional team that was never created. Over-the-phone ordering. The process of over-the-phone ordering, the users of over-the-phone ordering were never switching over to e-ordering because of the fact that they couldn't, it wasn't accessible. They weren't able to do it because their internet connections were too slow. Their governments wouldn't allow them to order from a third-party website. This, that, and the other thing. You need to make sure you understand your customer before you go and create a new way of getting them to order, or you're going to lose them. Implementation mistakes. The lack of understanding throughout the development groups caused a lot of issues throughout the entire process of implementing your project. As I mentioned, different groups had different ideas of what was happening. Other groups didn't believe this was going to work. Have you ever tried to do anything and not believed that it was going to happen or was going to work, or you had confidence in yourself? That's what the organization was doing. I mentioned and I talked about digitalizing for the wrong intentions. Once again, if you don't know what you're going to do, and if you don't know how you're going to do it, it's very, very difficult to implement properly. And finally, the parallel approach was not used properly. Typically, a parallel approach is you have the new system and then as well use the old system. The new system is used as you convert over from the old system. You run them at the same time and you slowly switch. However, this was not happening properly. They were pushing old users from the old system to the new system, even though it wasn't ready for them. They're telling them, you guys need to do this. Well, no, we need to be looking at the consumer. We need to making sure that they can actually switch over. that their governments are allowing them, that their infrastructure is allowing for it, and for that it's actually creating value for them. What we recommend the next time is to phase it in, is to use a phased approach, segmenting your consumer, making sure that you understand who they are and that they'll be able to do it, and slowly and utterly incorporating them into the new process so that they're able to use your process.
So we've talked a lot about the mistakes, but in order to move forward, we want to talk about the implementation. And we believe in the short term that the company really needs to focus on meeting its goals and finishing the e-ordering process. And how are we going to do that? Well, we want to judge this system based on its utilization. Ultimately, the user experience is what's going to add value to the company. So we want to make sure that our users are actually using this system. And before we can move on to the next project, we have to make sure that the utilization is at what we've met our utilization goals. In the midterm, that's where we're going to really think about redesigning the process of how do we look at system implementation based on some of the mistakes that we made in our first project. This comes down to the waterfall and agile approach. So by learning more about the customer through e-ordering, we can better be prepared for the next stage of the connected customer project. And with that project complete, we can really take the opportunity to do some market research on our customers and find what do they actually want. Because this project, the Connected Customer Project, has been suggested by the company, but they actually haven't asked their customers what do they need and what's valuable to them. So we want to take the time to do some market research and really learn about our customers before we take the next step and consider the Connected Customer Project. And that'll be the theme, is constantly revising our strategy and looking, does it still make sense? Because that was one of the key mistakes that was made in the first project, was that there was no reevaluation. So after we've had the chance to do our market research, we want to reevaluate the project and see what makes sense from there.
Thank you so much, and we're going to open the floor to questions.